Well, it is 12 minutes before 9 o'clock and we have to wrap the show from our studio, and I'm going to have to link back to Leanne, who is at Umlazi, south of Durban, and she's standing by with some of the political leaders and having a discussion on some of the issues affecting all South Africans. And from all of us here, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.
All right, welcome back. So let's get into the second segment now of our election talk on Morning Live. This is the SABC's election roadshow that's brought us to KwaZulu-Natal to talk to some issues affecting the province, and of course to talk to the political parties that you are going to go out and vote for on the 9th of May, and whoever speaks to you most. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, the IFP not represented here, and it would have been great for the IFP to be represented, because one of the big blows that happened to that party, of course, in the 2014 elections, is that they were knocked off the position as the official opposition to the ANC in the province, and that's always been a very contested position. The DA took over from there, and that, I think, is going to be quite a big blow to them coming into these elections. Will they be able to regain that top spot? Well, unfortunately, they're not here to answer that question. But somebody who is here is somebody from the NFP. We stopped just before the ad break, and I wanted to ask you a question. So one of the allegations that were made by Mangosuthu Buthelezi, it was during an interview that was held very recently, and he spoke to the fact, saying that Zanele Mgwazi Msibi formed the NFP in 2011, and the reason she did that was because she was bribed during the tenure of President Jacob Zuma to create the NFP. I'd love you to respond to that. Is that a known fact within the ranks of the NFP? Is that the origins of the NFP?
The origins of the NFP are based on the founding principles of the necessity to meet the needs of the South Africans who are desperately in need. Mangosuthu have said it a million times that he was the ANC, and it's an open fact. He always keeps saying that the blood of the ANC is flowing in his veins. He is the project of the ANC, not the National Freedom Party. The National Freedom Party is found on the basis that the poorest of the poor have been neglected for a long time. And then President Zanele Mgwazi Msibi has been always a trust-based person with the people in ensuring that she meets the people's need. So is the organization itself. People have made it out loud that they've only realized the true job or the true assignment of councillors by the councillors of the National Freedom Party, meaning the organization itself, it was based on the gap that was not bridged, or that could have been not bridged even by the IFP itself. So it's a fallacy, just an empty threat to the public.
Okay, that's the response from the NFP. I want to talk to... go for it. Did you want to ask a question? I thought you were putting your hand up to ask a question. It's like, come on, ask your question. No, I want to speak to you about what is a very important issue within the ranks of the ANC, and that, of course, is the political killings in the province. Of course, we had the Morani Commission, and they say that a lot of the killings were related to tender processes and people trying to obtain resources for themselves. Let's talk to the Morani Commission, the implementations thereof, and what is the scenario looking like when it comes to political killings?
Yeah, I think in as much as we would like to talk about the Morani Commission, we want to contextualize it, because I think a lot has been said, all of it directed to the ANC. It's important for me to clarify this point. If you take a scorecard of basic service delivery in KwaZulu-Natal, 8 out of 10 people now have water. When we took over in 2004, it was only 42%. 9 out of 10 now have got electricity. When we took over in 2004, it was about 58%, 54%. Almost 8 of 10 now have got sanitation. If you go to KwaZulu-Natal, we have got housing, not only in the township, but also in the rural villages. You have got schools that are functioning, well-built schools. Now, I'm surprised that Mr. Mkwanas can't see. And where was he educated? Where was he going? Because those schools are there. We are building even much more quality schools. Even we are building schools that belong to people with disabilities. Almost 8 of those across the province. So I'm saying, if people are arguing the issue of basic service delivery. Roads. We have built a lot of roads since 2004. Thousands and thousands of kilometers of roads, including rural roads in this province. Now, I'm putting that matter into context because no one can fool the people of KwaZulu-Natal. They know the truth. They know the facts where they live. They have seen an ANC-led government delivering to them for the last 15 years. That is why in the last year we're almost close to 64%. And I can simply say without any shadow of doubt that our government in the province is hard at work and our people are seeing them. And for that reason, we are going to actually gain the trust of our people. But I must come back to the issue of the killings. Yes, it is the ANC was pained by the continuation of political killings in KwaZulu-Natal. It then approached Premier Mkhunu to actually set up a commission. He then set up the Morane Commission. We have accepted the findings of the Morane Commission. We have even gone so far as saying some of those findings have an implication for national government. And we have taken those to the national government. But those who are within the purview of the provincial government, we have actually begun to act through the provincial government led by Premier Mkhunu and the ANC-led government in the province, and action is being taken. And I want to separate the issue of the criminal justice system and the role of political parties and leaders. When it is convenient for us, we think the ANC must become the police person. It must arrest, it must be prosecutor. But if we were to do that, the very same parties and everybody will claim that the ANC is actually manipulating its role as a leader of government. There is a separation in the constitution.
Okay.
And so we must therefore respect that where the prosecutors and the police must do their job. And I'm glad that the president has said to the full clear of everybody, where there is a crime, police are free to act. Where there is a crime, the National Prosecution Authority is free to prosecute anyone. So we now have a country that is governed by a rule of law. And we must actually disabuse ourselves of this political expediency that everybody will, when it is convenient, they will spew as if the ANC should be the one who's arresting people.
Okay.
Yes, we must fight crime. All of us are part of fighting crime.
All right. Mike, thank you. We unfortunately have to take another break and then we'll wrap this all up. Do stay tuned.